Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover up to 20 titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and up to 20 more from DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take your potions to the next level in your game. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs. Also, our book Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class, and much more. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. Our exclusive discount this week via Splinterverse Media on all social media channels is Incredible Creatures, which is a fantastic bestiary for you that took 5 figures worth of money to bring to you. There's a fascinating thread all about its creation from its creator, Alan Tucker, on Twitter that you should read if you get a chance, if you're a creator. Fascinating read. And it just shows the passion that's gone into this book. So much time, energy, sweat, and even money to make a wonderful book for you to enjoy, and there's so many great creatures in here. I've really enjoyed taking a look at it. And for this week, and it's almost over, it's exclusively 43% off just for you guys. So make sure you click that link in the video description or find the one on my Twitter feed and make sure you grab it before it's gone at that price. It's really worth it. So looking at it, this is the normal on sale price, $19.95, but you're going to get it 43% off. So that's a huge discount to get something so exciting. 262 pages of creatures, awesome looking creatures. I'm going to show you some of the inside in just a minute, but it's really cool how this came about. They started with the art and then had creatures created based on the art. So normally it's the other way around. You write a creature, then you make the art. But in this case, they use the art to inspire those creatures, which I think is a really fun way to do it. I've actually done that a couple times because I'm very visually inspired. And I think it always results in some really great concepts that maybe you otherwise wouldn't think of, because when you're just staring at a blank page, who knows what you're going to see? And with art starting the whole process, you're going to get something truly fantastical before you even put a word on the page. So I think that's a really cool way to design something. And there's 140 new creatures in these 262 pages. Plus you get 6 layers with full color maps, magic items, a D100 wild magic table that you can reuse for your wild magic sorcerer or somewhere else. And there's also a warlock patron. So tons and tons of stuff in this book. And there's also print on demand versions and combo options available as well. So really excited about this one. Let's look inside. So you get to see 30 of those 262 pages. So they're giving you a really good preview here. You've got all the different creatures listed, and you can see, I mean, just so much. It's 2 pages of contents because there's so much going on, including all these layers here at the end. So you've got a nice forward introduction, how to use the book, about the history, and then you've got creatures like a living hallucination and the caustic shambler. We're going to read one of the fun creatures in just a minute, but you got plutarchs and corpse makers, impaler demons, tremaws, slithering maws, zombie worm, and Hlupao the ever-changing. So some kind of legendary creatures as well. And it looks like quite a range of CRs too. So let me scroll back up and see. This one is a 25. So you're going to get some huge creatures as well that you can use, huge in terms of power. And I'm sure there's some huge size in here as well. But Yeah, just fun stuff. So many cool creatures. Here's a warlock patron that connects to this spawn of 𝙦𝙬𝙬𝙀. So all kinds of lore tied into these creatures. It's not just like here's the creature, here's the stat block, a few words about it, and then they're done, right? You're getting all this lore. You're getting this massive stat block. Then you're getting, and look at how cool the actions are. They've got all these long-term effects and stuff. And then you're getting a spawn of it plus a warlock patron. So, I mean, that's just so much for one creature. And I really appreciate that. And then there's also layers in here. So um, it's really quite a lot. So let's read a little bit about 𝙦𝙬𝙬𝙀. 𝙦𝙬𝙬𝙀, sorry. 𝙦𝙬𝙀, the ever-changing, is shrouded in ancient myths drawn from nearly every culture across the plains. Possibly as old as time itself, 𝙦𝙬𝙀 is best described as a primal force. Some sages have even suggested a hypothetical fifth elemental plane of flesh as home for this entity. While the idea sounds preposterous, a growing number of scholars admit it explains the birthplace of shape-changing creatures like doppelgangers and mimics. Regardless, 𝙦𝙬𝙀 is the subject of worship by some doppelgangers, leading many to believe the creature possesses an alien intelligence beyond what seems to be an otherwise mindless existence. Recently, in some realms, small sects of 𝙦𝙬𝙀 worshippers have begun spreading their own brands of chaos. Some even claim to receive power and boons from 𝙦𝙬𝙀, though these claims are largely unsubstantiated. So you can see how the author has weaved in some lore, given you some options, story potential. You could have an elemental plane of flesh be discovered if you wanted to. You could have a cult worshiping 𝙦𝙬𝙀. I mean, just so many options in just these couple paragraphs right here. So I love that. And oh, it's cool. Its size varies, which makes sense because it's shape changing. Love that. So scrolling down here, you can see there's a cool table related to the bite. So let's look at that. It says, in addition, the target must succeed on a DC 21 con saving throw or become poisoned for 1 minute. If a target fails a saving throw 3 times during an encounter, roll on the table below to determine a long-term effect. This lasts until a greater restoration spell or similar magic is used to cure the effect. And so we'll just read a couple of the effects. So one is the creature can hardly utter a word. Any spells which require a verbal component are impossible to cast, and any checks made which involve verbal communication are made at disadvantage. The creature is weakened and suffers tremors. The creature's strength score is reduced by 4, and they make attacks and ability checks which involve strength or dexterity with disadvantage. So yeah, it can be really dangerous to fail that con save a number of times on the bite there. I like that. You don't see that mechanic where it's like, okay, you have to make these con saves, but if you miss it a few times, here's this extra thing that happens. I like that. It's a fun idea. And then, as I said, there's a spawn, which is a CR9. And then down here, you've got a whole patron for that as well. So really cool. And that's just the one creature. We haven't even looked at the layers. We haven't even looked at some of these other look at the fun art in here. So I think you should check it out. Take advantage. You're going to get it, again, 43% off, only a few more days available on that. And make sure you're subscribed on all our channels because we want you to get those exclusive discounts each week all year. We're going to have those for you. So you don't want to miss a one. Take advantage of them while they last. But I urge you to get this one because it's really worth the money, and it's down there in the links under Incredible Creatures. Should be the first one in the timestamp list after the intro. So check that out. Next we have Advanced Bestiary, 60 plus new monsters. And just to recap, this week its titles released between February 10th and 16th, 2022. We've got Pathfinder, OSR, 5th edition, lots of 5th edition, everything from monsters, items, spells, classes, and adventures in here. So make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end to not miss a thing. So back to the Advanced Bestiary, 60 new monsters from Tub Thumpers Guild and Lenmos, and it's $7.99 for 41 pages. And I looked at the intro a little bit, and it seems a lot of these monsters are conversions from 1st edition, which is really exciting because I know there's monsters from older editions that people miss and have to try to convert on their own. Maybe they've been thinking about converting them and haven't gotten around to it. Well, Linmos and Tub Thumpers Guild have done that for you. There's 60 plus new monsters from low level to high level in here, as well as a new player race and new magic items. And if you look at the list here that goes Aglinthion all the way down to Wendigo, and they've got monster lists by CR, by type, environment, etc. to really help you find where these creatures might live, or find them by CR, which is really helpful if you're trying to plan an encounter. And then there's the intro here, and this is where it says the critters in this compendium have been pulled from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition in particular. Some of the creatures are rooted in real-world mythology and fantasy literature, where others are completely original creatures native to the planes of D&D. So, very cool. And then here's creating your character, racial option, the 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙨, or Genasi. And then you've got Bestiary, starting with Agintheon. And you get to see a couple of those creatures here in the 6 pages out of the 41. So let's read a little bit about the Agintheon, or Agathanon. My pronunciation is not going to be good today. Bear with me. Agathanon, also known as Agathion and Agathia, were good-spirited messengers and warriors native to the upper planes. Mistral, a Netherese goddess of magic, employed these angels, who appeared elvish in form with multicolored shimmering skin and eyes that glowed. However, Agintheon never showed their true form on missions. They always masqueraded as something else, a humanoid, a beast, even a lone sword. No matter the form, they radiated a magical aura. Their innate magic made them rather hard to slay. If any managed to fell in battle, it would return to its home plane, and its spirit would reform between 10 and 60 years. If it managed to die on its home plane, then it could no longer reform. Their shape-shifting skills offered many advantages to themselves and their users. When in the form of a humanoid, they could cast divine spells. In the form of an object, their wielder could gain the same abilities, but to a lesser extent. If an evil creature were to touch the Agintheon, or Agathanon, in object form, they would be harmed by a divine power. They had other inherent magical abilities separate from their divine abilities, and could travel the ethereal or astral plane whenever they desired, or use their telepathy. And so you've got the stat block here. This one is a CR 16. Everything from angelic weapons to turn undead. So it says the Agathanon's weapon attacks are magical. When the Agathanon hits with any weapon, the weapon deals an extra 3d8 radiance damage. So that's cool. And then you've got the Aliax, Apsis. It says the Apsis are reminiscent of weebles, yet strangely humanoid in form, living underground in colonies. Many Apsis do happen to be quite intelligent, and for that reason they stay neutral and pick no sides, but many also just happen to be drones and do not get to voice their opinion in their strict and rigid hierarchy. So you've got the Apsis cow and the Apsis drone. So yeah, lots of creatures. Maybe there's some that you longed for from first edition. I mean, you've got the Crabman, the Haunt, the Janny, the Nixie, the Nymph, the Selkie, Swan May, the Noi, Turg, Uldra, lots of them in here, 60 plus. And you're going to be bringing back some stuff from first edition with this, so it's exciting. Check it out under Advanced Bestiary in the links below and give it a click. Next, we've got Allies of the New World, a compilation of companions to aid your heroes by David Serrano and Jack Terry. It's $1, super great price for 19 pages. And it says, aid your players with these small heroes. This book has 19 pages in which you'll find 12 NPCs to utilize in your game of D&D, which have been enhanced through the usage of the sidekick rules in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. These characters are designed to fit into various tiers of play when they're introduced. 2 of the available NPCs break the sidekick rules in order to be more challenging or helpful at your convenience, while the remaining 10 follow the rules to the letter. So that's nice. You get some options for even more powerful sidekicks. And some people are playing like epic campaigns and stuff, so maybe it'll help with that, or they're going beyond 20th level. So you've got 2 warriors, martially focused characters specialized in combat, and then you've got another 5, along with 3 experts and 2 spellcasters. And you can see here some cool images from the interior. I like the artwork, and the layout looks really nice. So let's look inside. So here's your list of warriors and sidekicks. So fun names on those. And then it talks about the usage of sidekicks. It says, while sidekicks are meant to accompany the players as support, warriors might be a bit too powerful to do so, especially at early levels. They can make interesting connections to the world, however, as well as remarkable adversaries at appropriate levels. So I like that this is versatile. So these warriors can be high-level sidekicks, they can be NPCs, and they can be enemies. So various options there. And it even gives you some tips on role-playing as Ajax here with an optional feat. Yep, and then you get into the sidekicks with Albrecht the Pious Smith is the first one. And yeah, you get to see 8 of those 19 pages, so half of the book. Let's take a look here. Almost half. All right, so Albrecht the Pious Smith. Having spent decades training as an apprentice blacksmith, Albrecht was visited in his dreams by the dwarven god Moradin, who told him to leave the safety of his city, venture out into the world, to spread the dwarven arts, and to use his metalwork to protect those who could not protect themselves. At 150 years old, he's seen a lot of the world, but still sees the best in things. Learning magic has been a struggle for Albrecht. The ineffable nature of divinity is far removed from the solid facts of iron and steel he has spent his life working with. But no matter whether he's forging a new shield or healing the injured, he knows Moradin guides his hand. Now traveling as a healer, Albrecht looks to spread the word of his god while helping those in need. He can meet the players while helping at a forge, volunteering to repair or upgrade their armor, or provide healing at a local temple. And then you've got the role-playing options, optional feat. So it says if you want Albrecht to be more powerful, consider giving him the Warcaster feat. And then you've got the stat block, sidekick level 8. So this is awesome. You don't often see things with sidekicks and that can also be NPCs, of course. So I think this is a really good buy, especially at $1. Because remember, creators only get 50% of that, and we've got 2 creators on this. So if they're sharing royalties, I mean, they're only going to get 25 cents each. So that means they're really doing this for the love of it. And I think you should support them and check it out under Allies of the New World in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Ashtwig's Bidding, a forest adventure for 3rd level characters by Simon Trashinsky. And it is $2 on a suggested price for pay what you want, and it's 17 pages. It says the forest is dying, but it's not innocent. In the deeps of the forest, the giant Trent Ashtwig is calling out for help. It has fallen ill to a creature nesting in its roots, its magic slowly fading away. The Trent promises adventurers high rewards for their help. The adventurers must travel inside the tree up to its crown to befriend and convince a living weapon to join their fight before making their way down into the infested roots, fighting creatures in the dark and hallucinations in their minds. And even if they win the fight, the Trent might have not been quite honest about its motives to begin with. So I like that. Really interesting hook that there's this Trent and all this stuff affecting this whole forest, and it seems like you need to help, and then find out maybe that's not the whole story. So really fun idea. It says it's a 2 to 4 hour adventure for 3 to 4 3rd level characters. Includes exploration, roleplay, and combat. Starting adventure showing especially new players different sides of the 5th edition. 3 custom maps as well, unique items, and NPCs. Let's look inside. So you've got your table of contents. So it looks like the adventure is broken into 6 different parts, which are actually 7 because you've got the conclusion, and then you've got items, monsters, NPCs, etc. at the end, as well as your maps. So you can just see 5 of those 17 pages. So you've got the introduction tone, the adventure primer, and the hook, and Ashtwig's Bidding. So we'll read a little bit about the hook, and then we'll read some flavor text as well. It says the adventure starts a few days after Flimbercamp has sprouted in Ashtwig's crown. Disconnected from the fungal network of the Trichia circle and gain consciousness, Ashtwig sees his last chance before Harkara might steal or destroy Flimber Camp as well, and it's therefore urgent to contact passerby in the woods. As written, the adventure is placed in the woods of Sharp Teeth, but it can be placed in any other forest as well. The only consideration, you should place Ashtwig in a remote part of any forest to ensure his isolation. Ashtwig is ancient and massive, but shouldn't be too well known to people living in the forest or its vicinity. So reading aloud down here, it says, the dense forest opens up to a small opening. Other trees in this area are visibly smaller due to the large tree towering all over them. Even in midday light, the thick-leaved crown hinders most light getting through, giving this part of the forest a gloomy feel. The massive old tree is preceded by a few thick roots stretching through the earth around it, but most of them look old and dry. The branches of the tree are hanging low, and brown leaves are falling down infrequently. So you get this real feel for this forest that you're about to adventure in, and come to know this famous, semi-famous Trent and all the things going on with this Myconid network and all this stuff happening. And it just looks really interesting. And I just love Trents. I think they're such fascinating creatures and have such story potential. And I think this could be really fun. And it's pay what you want, so you could check it out and then purchase later, or adjust the price. I definitely recommend supporting the author. But it looks like it could be really cool, especially for third level characters. So check it out under Ashtwig's bidding in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have bonuses. How to make friends and prestidigitate people. A Strixhaven supplement by Bonus Action Rainbow. It's already a best copper seller in its first week. It's $4.95. Got a 5-star rating, and it looks really fun. It's one I definitely want to get at some point, but I love the cover. I mean, this is really fun artwork of these characters. And it says the artwork is Art of Amanda NP and Bonus Action Rainbow in here. And it says Strixhaven relationships reworked. 1, enhanced rules for NPC relationships. How about clicks, enhanced NPC character information, or epic relationship encounters? In this book, you'll find a framework and supplemental options designed to help you roleplay the NPCs at Strixhaven University. You can find out what motivated NPC students to join Strixhaven, give player characters the opportunity to overhear some juicy gossip, and weave a web of friends and rivals into your game with the new click system. In this book, you'll find the necessary tools to flesh out all the major student NPCs, including changes to relationship points, new rules for enemies, rivals, and friends, clicks, how to join them in their powerful boons and banes, fully fleshed inter-NPC relationships and clicks, fact files of all NPCs found in Strixhaven, including pronouns, where to find them, their friends, rivals, etc., NPC template to use for your own custom NPCs, and 5 full encounters to test these relationships and rivalries, including a secret party with dire consequences. So, sounds really fun. I like that it's tying into Strixhaven and those new mechanics of relationships and classes and all that stuff. Classes meaning like classroom classes. I think it's much needed because it's a new area, so anything that can help expand it and support DMs trying to navigate that is welcome. And it's already best copper seller, so there's a lot of people wanting to experiment with this, and I love that. So 4 pages are visible in your preview out of the 21. You've got your changes, your clicks, your NPC details, and some closing thoughts. And I love this character here. It looks fun. So you've got using the book, changes to the relationship mechanics, relationship effects, thresholds, and then clicks. So we'll read a little bit about the clicks because that's something new here. Cliques are exclusive groups that work together to achieve their goals. These friendship circles are difficult to access without the entire clique being friendly to a character. Moreover, they provide a quick reference of NPCs that might spend time together. In Strixhaven, cliques can give a player character powerful resources to tap into. However, such help often comes at a cost. Not following a clique's common interest will cause a character to be removed from the group and possibly lose relationship points with everyone in that circle. Worse still, if a character is unfortunate enough to provoke an entire clique into rivalry, that character will find student life at Strixhaven very difficult very quickly. So in order to be part of a clique, a character must be friends with at least 4 of its members. If at any point a character loses standing with enough of the members so that they no longer meet this requirement, that character is removed from the clique and all members lose a relationship point with that character. And then there's some clique powers, clique goals, clique boons, and then you've got Campus Queens is one of the cliques with members Cadorus, Rosamaya Benfip, Grayson Quintilius. And it says, with a flair for the dramatic, this clique combines their love of acting, costumes, and innovation in order to make a name for themselves on campus. Turning an insult into a title, the Campus Queens formed when, whilst gossiping about the latest sets of costumes, a second-year student that has since dropped out due to a horrific accident called them the Campiest Queens. Living for the drama, they reclaimed the name and put their own twist on it, solidifying their reign across the student body. They make great efforts to know the new faces that come onto campus and are always ready to strike up a conversation with anyone except for their rivals. At a moment's notice, this clique has the ability to launch into an impromptu talent show complete with poetry, fashion, battle, reenactment, and cute merchandise. And then you've got the clique goal, the boon, the feature, and the bane. So that's just one. And I like that description. I think it's flavorful. It's got some play on words there, which I always enjoy that as a writer myself. And that's just one of the cliques. There's more in here. So reading the boon, it says you hear all the gossip around the school. You gain advantage on wisdom, insight checks to know a character's hobbies and interests. So valuable in the Strixhaven setting for sure. And they even have banes, so if they don't like you, presumably you would get the bane. So really fun and helpful for people that want to expand and explore all of those relationships. You can make it kind of like Clueless or Drawbreaker or Mean Girls, or really really amp it up and have fun. Or something of your own creation. And I love the artwork on the cover as well. So check it out in the links below under bonuses, how to make friends and prestidigitate people, and give it a click. Next we have Feral Bonds and Wild Companions from the Aaron Chronicles. It's a complete manual of wild companions and mounted combat. It's already a best silver seller in its first week, and it's by Nikos Ostas and Nicholas Totieff. And lots of artists. And this is from the creators of Journey of the Spirit Walker, Journey of the Godslayer, all those great books from the Aaron Chronicles publishing house. And their work is just stellar. Always so good and unique and not really compared to anything, because it all seems to be quite original, which I really appreciate. So I'm always interested in what they're doing and what they're going to do next. So I'm always on the lookout for their next title, and I think you should be too, because you can see, just even looking down here, I mean, the past work is just some really great stuff that's bestseller. I mean, Journey of the Godslayer is a platinum. Journey of the Spirit Walker has been in the top 20 for quite a while. It just came out a few weeks ago. We covered it. And this one's in the top as well already, best silver seller in its first week. So that means it sold 100 copies in the first week. So you need to see what all the buzz is about. You need to be following Nikos and Aaron Chronicles, because you don't want to miss this originality. And what most impresses me about Nikos' work is that Nikos could put this somewhere else on SRD terms, right? But Nikos is bringing it to the DM's Guild, sharing it with you, and really tying into that lore as well. So you got to reward that for sure. It's $4.99 for 34 pages devoted to these companions and mounts, which is awesome. Everybody loves a pet, or most people do. This book is a complete manual that will allow you to tame, train, and ride the most ferocious of creatures into both journey and battle. Discover all that you need in order to adventure together with a wild companion, while forming a bond that is unlike any other. The rules provided by this book can be used by any player character, regardless of their race, class, and background. You'll find how to tame a beast, dragon, or monstrosity to become your wild companion, how to train your wild companion, further enhancing its potential through various monster tricks and monster feats, a unique system for dealing with the concept of mounted combat in your games, a wide array of mundane items for your wild companion's equipment, along with 9 new magic items, 3 new character feats, 2 new character backgrounds, and a brand new epic character background. The Dragonkin. Lists of all the tameable creatures found in the official source books to be used as quick reference, and a unique custom-made wild companion sheet to be used as a character sheet for your wild companion. So I think it's exciting. People really get into their pets in these games. I'm playing a game right now where I have a really fun imp named Mabuse, and you just get into it. You have a real connection to the pets, almost as though they're your pet in real life. So the fact that this gives you a character sheet for your pet, I mean, how much more fun can it get that you're having to keep track of stuff for your little pet? And I think it's exciting. And as always, the Aaron Chronicles kills it in the layout and art department. I mean, look at this. This is just stunning over here. This bird that's kind of turning into a galaxy here. And just so much good stuff going on. And here's an example of the little companion sheet. So for $4.99, you're getting all this fun stuff. Let's look inside here. You get to see 14 pages, so just about half of the book. And then you've got your table of contents here. So you got bonds, mounted combat, equipment, magical miscellany, and character options. So just a wide array of stuff. So for $4.99, you're bound to get something out of it that you can use, if not the whole thing, which I would be shocked if you couldn't use the whole thing here, because it talks about creating a bond, wild companions in combat, ending a bond with a companion, basically, taming them, the upkeep cost, performing tricks, learning feats, equipment for the companion, and then here's a bunch of different monster tricks that your companion can do. If you've reached the training level of 5 or 7. And then you've got monster feats that they can have, which is also going to be helpful. And then a whole section on mounted combat and riding actions in combat, magical mounts. And I mean, there's that beautiful art again. Love it. Love it. Let's go back up here. Read a little bit about the companion and the bonds and stuff. All right, so let me zoom in. It says you may attempt to turn any creature that you encounter in the wild into your wild companion, so long as that creature fits the prerequisites of becoming one and is not already hostile towards you. Make a note that any player character may tame and train a wild companion regardless of their class and background, as long as they complete the required process through a series of successful animal handling checks. Each player character may share a bond with no more than one wild companion's at a time, unless otherwise stated by a trait, feature, or effect. So, you've got to make sure that you have all those abilities lined up, your animal handling, all that good stuff. And it says, when a creature becomes your wild companion, it acts to support your endeavors at the best of its abilities, both in and outside the field of battle. Though it lacks the comprehensive capacity of most humanoid companions, it can often prove a most trustworthy partner and valuable ally than most. It says, during a combat encounter, a wild companion shares your initiative count. If reduced to 0, a wild companion makes the death saving throws as a player character would. In order to determine the proficiency bonus of your wild companion, consult the monster statistics by challenge rating table in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And then down here under Primal Bonds, you've got training, performing tricks, equipment, and magic items. And here's some of the tricks. So, domesticated. As soon as it has been tamed, a wild companion is automatically considered to know the domesticated trick, which does not count against the wild companion's total number of learned tricks. A domesticated wild companion will not attack another humanoid unless it is attacked by it, witnesses a creature it is friendly towards being attacked by it, is directly endangered by it in any way that it can comprehend, or commanded by you to do so. And then you get that at training session 0. Then with training session 1, you can get this trick called Attack. As a bonus action, you direct your wild companion to attack a creature that you can both see or otherwise perceive during a combat encounter. Unless having been taught this trick and commanded accordingly, a wild companion will choose which action to take based on its own instincts. A wild companion commanded to attack a target will not yield until it has been given another command or the target has been reduced to 0 hit points. And those are the, level 1, but then you get up to 5 and 7. So let's look at 7. Soar. When your wild companion learns this trick, it is no longer provokes opportunity attacks when it flies out of an enemy's reach. Wild companion must be able to fly in order to learn this trick. So it just goes through all these options of training. So it's really embellishing that whole experience with a pet, making it more involved, giving you training sessions and perks, and that's just with the sort of the pets and companions. But then you've also got mounted stuff in here. You can see all these different magical mounts listed, all with stunning artwork for $4.99. So I think this is a must-have, and you should check it out under Feral Bonds and Wild Companions in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have the Foestone Compendium Monster Manual Edition. It says Turn Monsters into Items by Wilson Belshaw, $14.95 for 186 pages. That's a lot of pages. And it has entries for more than 280 creatures, adds an extra level of depth to your games by using Foestones to absorb enemies and turn them into magic items. Alternatively, ignore the system entirely and instead use the book as a bulging grab bag of goodies. So you've got 84 magical weapons, over 100 armor sets, over 200 monster abilities, over 100 unique objects. It says capture and summon monsters, rules to capture and summon any monster with a stat block. And then you've got extra options such as boosting player abilities, gaining new senses, learning new languages, and level up items. So really fun. Here's the intro, how it works. It says if a character is in possession of a Foestone, they can attempt to absorb a creature into it as a bonus action upon killing them. This process is known as absorption. There are 2 ways of implementing this. If a creature is reduced to 0 hit points, it can automatically be absorbed into a Foestone. If a creature is reduced to 0 hit points, it can be absorbed into a Foestone as long as the player succeeds on a DC. Every entry in this book has a DC attached to it. You roll to beat this number using your proficiency bonus, but no other modifier. The other thing to consider is who can absorb fallen monsters. Your options are only the player who felled the monster can absorb it, or anyone in the party holding a Foestone. Creatures absorbed into a Foestone are turned into a pure essence, but they aren't dead. If a Foestone is shattered, that creature escapes. The different ways this can happen will be covered later in the book. And then you've got Foestone levels, Foestone prices, creating magic items with Foestones, and then you see it's going into each of the creatures and how to use it to create a Foestone. So what I love about this is it's multi-purposed, it's versatile, because you've got this story potential in terms of turning a creature that you've subdued into a Foestone magic item, or you can just take the items described and make them regular magic items. So either way, you're getting 666 items and options. That's a lot of options for $14.95. So if you're short on items, you really want some new stuff, that's great. I mean, even the fact that these are all associated with different creatures in the monster manual, you can tie that into the lore. You can have it be looted from those monsters. There's so many ways, so many angles with this. So I really, really appreciate the thoughtfulness behind it. So you get to see 12 of the pages from the middle of the book in the preview. So we're getting to see some of the various options. So I like Nothics, so let's go read about what they get. But you can see the pixie, orcs, all kinds of creatures. So let's see what the Nothic offers you here. So it's a CR2 Foestone +1 DC6. So that'll make sense when you've read all the intro. So Object Stone, boon, you gain Nothic Eyeball. After absorbing the Nothic, the Foestone takes on the appearance of a lurid green eyeball. You can use this object like a glass eye. With this eyeball implanted, you can use Weird Insight once per long rest. You can also see with it, although everything takes on the green hue. And then the boon, you learn Weird Insight. As an action, you can target one creature you can see within 30 feet. The target must contest its deception check against your insight check. If you win, you magically learn one fact or secret about the target. The target automatically wins if it's immune to being charmed. The target doesn't know you're using this ability against it unless you announce the fact. And its value is 2,500 gold pieces. So fun, flavorful, and just those are just two options. And you could have this Gnothic Eyeball be something, like I said, an item that's just out there that does this. Maybe you have a character that lost an eye, and so you can find them a Gnothic Eyeball. You can even tease it and say, I have something that will replace that missing eye of yours, fellow. And then sort of lead them on this journey to get this magical eyeball. So lots of options. Maybe they have to go kill the Gnothic, or maybe they just get one that's already, converted. So let's read one more. So Gelatinous Cube Ooze says you gain instant ooze. When you summon an ooze, there's no controlling it. It just gets on with being an ooze. Anyone within 5 feet of the summoned gelatinous cube is automatically engulfed and takes acid damage. The engulfed creature can't breathe and is restrained and takes acid damage at the start of each of the cube's turn. When the cube moves, the engulfed creature moves with it. An engulfed creature can try to escape, making a strength check. On a success, the creature escapes and enters a space of its choice within 5 feet of the cube. So very, flavorful and fits with the gelatinous cube, of course, doing its usual jello thing. Fun. I like it. Lots of options in here. So check it out in the links below under Foestone Compendium. Give it a click. Next, we have Icewind Dale Expanded, already a best copper seller in its first week. It says, add life to your Rime of the Frost Maiden with these 15 encounters and maps. It's by Azael Olbrinter and Christian Zook and Kathleen Harrington. $7.99 for 30 pages. So it provides a series of encounters and events that will enrich the experience of your players when playing Rime of the Frost Maiden. Some of the encounters are accompanied by maps and color for a better VTT experience. So it's got 15 encounters and micro adventures, 4 stat blocks, 10 maps with 95 versions. So that's super helpful. And let's see, it says feedback or comments in the adventure are most welcome. So that's nice. They're interested in finding out more. But look at how cool these maps are. I like this one. It looks like a sort of a campsite in the frozen area, and you've got this river with bits. I love how the detail of the ice on the river here. You just get little bits of ice and then some flowing water. You don't see that much. It's usually one or the other, right? So having that, and here's sort of a little rickety bridge over some terrain. So yeah, really fun stuff, and you can see how the layout looks really nice and fits well. So let's take a look inside. You got 33 pages, so you get to see the whole book. So it's got the introduction talking about the rewards, encounters, and then you got 10 towns with the encounters there, and then encounters in Icewind Dale, and then quests for Ithrin. So very fun. Oh, I don't know why I closed that. All right, so here we go, and you go through the intro, see the fun map of the area, the rewards. And then here we get into the 10 towns. And it looks like each of the encounters has a level, a type. So this first one, it's called Apprentice Necromancer. It's for levels 1 to 2. It's got combat, exploration, and social. And it says it can take place in any town. And then it gives an overview. It says the characters learn about looted tombs and crawling hands terrorizing the town the characters are in. That's cool. And then you got some stat blocks, rewards. The next one's called Body Snatcher. And then Frozen Heart, Headless Hero. So let's read a little bit about the Headless Hero. The statue of a hero, Agarwal, has lost its head. The characters can investigate the event and discover the conspiracy aimed at overthrowing the town speaker. And then let's read some of the flavor text. As you approach the center of town, you are struck by the rotten stench of knucklehead trout. Dozens of trout heads litter the ground around the town hall, and its windows and doors are covered with wooden planks. Carvings and drawings on its walls depict untasteful parodies of tieflings wielding pitchforks and half-orcs behaving like savage animals. A stone statue stands in front of the town hall, but its head is missing. A metal plaque below reads, "Never again shall I or my fellow men of Tourmaline prejudge him by the color of his skin and the reputation of his kin." So really interesting, ominous plaque there. And yeah, and then it goes on from there, and you have this adventure in Tourmaline. And yeah, really nicely laid out, really nice artwork. And as I said, you can basically read the whole book. So you should come over here, read all of these encounters, and see if you're going to use any of these. And if you are, give it a purchase. Support these creators producing great work for you, expanding. Books like this make your purchase of Rime of the Frost Maiden stretch, right? Because you get your players invested in Rime of the Frost Maiden, that area, and then you can have additional fun in that area. Or maybe your second time through Rime of the Frost Maiden, you add some of these encounters just to mix it up for you as the DM, so you don't get bored, right? So I think this is really worth it. You should check it out in the links below under Icewind Dale Expanded and give it a click. Next we have lightning spells, 25 new electricity themed spells from Nearsighted Games, $1.99 for 9 pages. It says, put the spark back into your magical arsenal with 25 lightning spells. These spells are themed around lightning, electricity, and magnetism, including new electric themed spells for every spellcasting class, including artificers, more lightning damage dealing spells, including cantrips, so you don't always have to take Shocking Grasp, protective spells like Galvanic Armor and Electro Shield, magnetic spells that can push your foes around like Magnesis, Magnetic Blast, and Polarity, the ability to briefly turn yourself into a bolt of lightning with Flash Shift and Bolt Dash, and Apocalypse Bolt, a devastating bolt of magical lightning that can utterly obliterate your foes. And then there's 3 bonus spells from previously published products. And, I think Lightning Bolt is a really fun spell. It's really popular. So to have some additional lightning spells is exciting, especially if you want to have a campaign, maybe in a plane that has lots of lightning going on, or maybe just to even give to an NPC or a villain. So let's look inside. You've got 3 of the 9 pages visible. So you got your list of all the spells. And then you get to read some of the cantrips here. So let's read one or two of those. So the first one, Arcane Compass. It's a range of touch, instantaneous. It says you touch a metal object weighing no more than 10 pounds and imbue it with magic, causing it to rotate and point toward the location that you visited at least once. Alternatively, you may choose to cause the object to align itself such that it points north and south like a compass. This spell cannot be used to locate creatures or objects. So, pointing toward a location, that can be super helpful. You don't know which direction you're going, and you're kind of blind there. This can help you. So let's read Arcing Spark. It's 60 feet range, instantaneous. It says you shoot a spark of electricity from your hand, make a ranged spell attack against a target that you can see. The spark flies in a straight line at the target, dealing 1d6 lightning damage on a successful hit. If your spell attack hits, the spark arcs into a second target of your choice within 30 feet of the first. Make a separate ranged spell attack against the second target. On a hit, the second target takes lightning damage equal to half the damage rolled against the first target. The spell's damage increases when you reach 5th level, 11th, and 17th. So, yeah, lots of thematic lightning stuff. Really on those elemental planes especially, you could really use a lot of this to just even have these effects be things that are going on from characters that happen to be there, or you can give them to characters, player characters as well as options. So just really versatile. Love it. Check it out under lightning spells in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Martial Weapon Upgrades, 9 unique weapon upgrade paths by Isaiah Lee. It's $1.95 for 15 pages. It says it provides 9 upgrade paths for the dagger, longbow, and longsword. Additional rules for extending these upgrades paths to any weapon in the game. There are 3 new tiers of upgraded weapons in the supplement, including Greater, Superior, and Masterwork. You've got Arcane, Brutal, and Swift upgrade paths. And you can customize your martial fighting style with brand new features and abilities that add more strategic depth to combat and aim to close the gap between martials and caster flexibility. You can wield a Masterwork Swift Dagger or a Superior Arcane Longbow and control the battlefield using the abilities that these upgraded and refined weapons offer. It has also been written for ease of use and includes advice on how to best incorporate the supplement into your campaign, includes quick reference player-facing tables that show off the various upgrade paths. So here's some images, very cool. And so here there's 5 pages out of 15 that you can see. It talks about weapon improvements, weapon enhancements, extending the supplement. Here's your dagger upgrades. So it says arcane enhancement. The arcane enhancement for the dagger adds features that will tantalize the trickster, rogue, or strategically minded fighter. But more than just magic tricks, this enhancement. No, it is enchantment. This enchantment also synergizes well with other magic users, buffing its wielder in the presence of magic. Finally, this weapon provides benefits to its user, even when they find themselves facing enemy spellcasters. So it says Arcane Dagger, Arcane Imbuement. This weapon counts as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistances and immunities. Greater Arcane Dagger, Arcane Concealment. While this weapon is on your person, as a bonus action, you may turn this weapon invisible. The invisibility ends when you use a bonus action to end it, or if you are separated from the weapon. And then Superior Arcane Dagger, Arcane Return. As a bonus action, you may magically teleport this weapon to your hand as long as it is within 60 feet of you. And then Masterwork, Arcane Dagger, Arcane Charge. When a spell is cast within 30 feet of you while wielding this weapon, you gain temporary hit points. The temporary hit points disappear after 10 minutes or if you are separated from the weapon. So, yeah, that could be really different to have this dagger doing all these different special things. And none of them are like game-breaking things, right? So that's good. You've got weapon improvements. In any major city, a character can take their weapon to a blacksmith or a fletcher to have their weapon improved. There are 3 levels of improvement: greater, superior, or masterwork. Masterwork weapon is the pinnacle of craftsmanship, meaning not every blacksmith can offer such an improvement. Each level of improvement requires 1 day of work by the respective craftsperson, as well as the respective amount of gold paid for material and labor costs. So pretty cool little system they've got going on for improving these weapons, and they've got lots of examples. We just read 1, but you can read 2 in here and find out about other options to expand, make them more interesting. I mean, everybody gets like a dagger, right? And that's just kind of there, but this gives you options to make it meaningful and have all these layers and almost leveling it up in a way with your ability to go through these greater, superior, and masterwork options, and gives them reasons to interact with the smithy and other characters too. So I like it. Fun. It's only $1.95, so check it out under Martial Weapon Upgrades in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Nasty, Brutish, and Short: Life in an Adventuring Company, roguelite inspired options for your campaign by Matthew Jarmack. $4.99 for 16 pages. It says, death is a part of any adventurer's life, whether a comrade died in their arms leading them on a path to vengeance against the Dark Lord, or their ancient mentor died peacefully before giving them a map to the secret of their birthright, or they killed some goblins on their way to the tavern before meeting up with their friends. Every adventurer has been close to death, but an adventurer actually dying can be inconvenient on a game level in a way that makes it more difficult for the games to include certain stories. Well, no more. With Nasty, Brutish, and Short, adventurers can die without it being such a big experience. Use the rules here to let characters have heroic last stands, and yet the player doesn't need to start from square one. So there's 5 different rules sections here. Each one can be used on its own or in part. You can use all 5 or just one of them or whatever. Each set of rules will give you a different experience in your game. So there's one called Adventuring Companies. With Adventuring Companies, the group is adventurers in an adventuring company or other organization that provides continuity and a reason for the characters to enter the group. Each player has a title for their characters. Should a character die, player's new character inherits the title, which passes down certain abilities to their new character, allowing them to get right back into the action even before their new character catches up in levels. And then catch-up advancement. Of course, with new characters, you might want them to catch up. Catch-up advancement offers a set of options that you can use to help lower level characters gain levels faster than other members of the group, so it doesn't take as long to get back to where it took, where to get there in the first place. Tiered advancement. Maybe you don't want your characters to progress from normal people to world-shaking saviors over the course of your campaign. Maybe you just want to keep being itinerant adventurers who save villages from 3 goblins at a time. With tiered advancement, you can pick a tier of gameplay that you want to stop advancing at and cap levels before reaching the next tier. Your characters can still gain in power through a system of boosts even after reaching the level cap, but won't gain the abilities that redefine gameplay at new tiers. Then there's squad play. With squad play, each player controls a whole squad of characters, not just one character. This gives you gameplay options akin to tactical video games, where you can command resources and your players. And then death is certain, but so is glory. With these options, you can make death more likely to occur to characters. These rules, miniature in nature, provide varied options that make gameplay more lethal and recovery more difficult. Even more so than other rule options here, it is expected that you will want to use only some of these. So 5 different sections of options. So at $4.99, you're basically paying $1 for each of these options that can expand the gameplay. I really like tiered advancement as an option and squad play. I think those could be really fun. And the other ones are good too, but just me personally, what I'm drawn to, I think those 2 are the most interesting, but these other ones could be super helpful as well, especially if you have characters that are dying and you want some different options to deal with that. Unfortunately, they're having issues getting their full-size preview to work, but we can look at their quick preview. So yeah, you can see how it's separated out each of the rules here. So I like that. And yeah, they've got this whole section on squad play here, catch-up advancement, etc. So check it out under Nasty, Brutish, and Short in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Oneiro Island, written by Cody Coolwind. It's an adventure for characters of level 5 for 2 to 5 players. It's $9.99 for 50 pages. And it says, the fate of the world lies in the one forgotten. 500 years ago, the Battle of Brignan left many dead. A portal was breached, leading to the far-off island within the Forgotten Realms. Explorers ventured in. Some never made it back. Corbin was victorious, sealing the portal to Oneiro Island. As he becomes older, he is not able to perform the ritual once more without sacrifice. Beringen Outpost may rise again. Beringen Outpost may be ground zero for another invasion. Choose your actions wisely. So it sounds like a fun little intro there. It says adventurers are sent to an ancient island from which they cannot escape. Seeping through a portal that was sealed off long ago, the corrupt atmosphere of an ancient island began to affect the once thriving Beringen outpost. Residents began to lose their values, crops began to spoil, traveling merchants refused to stay at the local inn, etc. The only way out of Oneiro Island is to venture through the mountains and uncover the reasons for Beringen's outpost failure to thrive again. So you got 14 maps, 4 new monster stats, a variant of an airship with stats, a rich history of Oneiro Island, PDF is hyperlinked, and all kinds of good stuff. Let's look inside. So you get to see 8 of those 50 pages. So the adventure is broken down into 4 parts plus conclusions. And then you get monster index, your magic items, and even some item shops. That's cool. Here's your outpost with your adventure hook. So we'll read that in a minute, as well as the flavor text. And you see some really nice maps in here that you're going to get probably separately as well. I'm not sure, but I would assume you might get these as files to use. So let's take a look here and read the adventure hook. It says, message from a raven. The players wake up one day after strange dreams of a red-haired elf swirling her hands through a cloud of smoke rising from a cauldron. As the smoke gets closer, they see themselves in the haze in their dreamlike state, and suddenly awake to find a 4-eyed raven staring right into their eyes. It holds a piece of parchment paper in its talons and extends its leg to give it to them. The text reads, your presence is requested within Beringen. The realm is at stake. All the best, Corbin. The raven hovers over and places its talons above their brow. Images flash into the players' heads of a pathway leading to a strange settlement through a group of violent protesters, ending at a cabin. The raven releases its touch and it starts to dematerialize, ceasing to exist. So then here's the Beringen tunnel with some flavor text, so we'll read that. The smell of sulfur fills the marble tunnel leading to Beringen outpost. 2 of the townsfolk roll their eyes as you walk by. The settlement comes into view, and white elven walls surround the area. Some of the civilians are sitting on their porch, eyes looking as though they are lost. Dwarves, halflings, and humans seem to make up much of the population here. 3 guards stand by the entrance, their heads turned to watch your every move. The grass beneath your feet is blackened, and a slight breeze chills in the air. One guard speaks and demands information. Tell me what you are doing here. So already they're being met with some rolled eyes and a little bit of aggro. So I like it. It's already off to a interesting start, and you know, I think this concept of this island is kind of trapped and has all this stuff going on that, you know, you can't even get out of the island, and crops are dying and stuff is a really cool setting. So I think you should check it out under Oneiro Island in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Phantasms of the Void. Investigating a cursed carpenter in a mysterious village uncovers occult sinister plans and leads to an adventure in a dreamland of terror. And it's by Wilight. It's $5 for 21 pages. The characters have been summoned to the nearby village of 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙀. Under normal circumstances, a sleepy and forgettable place. Recent months have brought sinister mists that rot their crops and horrific creatures knocking at their doors. To make matters worse, the only carpenter in town has become obsessed with a strange woman visiting him in his dreams. Abandoning his trade and letting the village fall into ruin, he obsessively carves the woman's likeness into wood totems, each one looking more monstrous than the last. Their investigations eventually lead them to the alien plateau of Mu in the strange dreamland of Cathatus. There, they are confronted by cosmically powerful forces that even gods do not dare challenge. To fail would doom the material plane to oblivion. And it's got this very Cthulhu feel to it, which is fun. You get to see 6 of those 21 pages, and you see you've got the intro, chapter 1, 2, and then the finale, and then the appendix has magic item stat blocks and a map. So running the adventure story overview, summary, hooks, we'll read some of those in a minute. Modified memories section, cool. And then, yeah, all kinds of prep information, which I really appreciate. You don't get that much prep in these normally, so I like that. Adventure hooks. Okay, it says the party receives a letter from a concerned husband named Alden. They reach out in secret as the village elder has demanded that no one interfere. The letter states that their husband, Patron, has become possessed by some witch. Secluding himself, he only carves totems of her. And then the next one, a local constable enters the known tavern complaining of some homemaker and a child from the nearby village, sending him tons of letters describing strange mists and monster attacks. The modified memories. One of the core ideas in this adventure is that you cannot trust what you have seen. To create that experience for the player, I present an alternative way to running the game regarding wisdom saving throws. These only apply to wisdom saving throws made concerning the modify memory spell. At the beginning of the session, before play has begun, ask each player to roll 5 wisdom saving throws, record those numbers for each player on a sheet of paper, and do not tell them what it is for. Many instances in this adventure call for standard wisdom saving throws, but these ones are special. Preset traps, and Wyrn himself will utilize the spell to try and manipulate the characters. The spell works the same as it is described in the player's handbook, but Wyrn will only use it to change a moment in the immediate memory of the characters. In these special cases where the modifying memory spell calls for a wisdom saving throw, use these pre-rolled saves by each character without telling them. Then cross off the save that was used so you don't accidentally use it again. Depending on the success or failure, describe how the scene plays out. There will also be instances where the characters encounter the spell and some succeed, while others fail. In this instance, before describing the scene, read the following. Your companions suddenly stop moving and their eyes dilate. Taken by some enchantment, they mutter to themselves and you hear whispered words on the wind. So it's fun how this modified memory is going to be used in a different way here, and those saves, and you've got a lot more on that. So this author's really put a lot of detail into it, and I appreciate that. Looks like a fun time. I think you should take a look at it in the video description links under Phantasms of the Void. Give it a click. Next, we got Pretty Little Lairs, a series of 12 short adventures for use in any campaign for Tier 1 characters. And the title, Pretty Little Lairs, is a play on that TV series Pretty Little Liars, because it's just 1 or 2 letters reversed there. So quite fun. David Gov is the author. $4.99 for 48 pages. It says, what lurks in spaces between, from ancient crypts to mysterious grottos, adventurers find themselves exploring exotic locations in search of wealth, glory, and peril. No longer does traveling between quests have to be mundane or without challenge. Pretty Little Lairs contains 12 fully detailed side adventures for Tier 1 characters that can be readily inserted into a range of D&D campaigns. Easily adaptable, these short adventures contain hooks to draw your party in and directions which lead off from the conclusion of each location. There are also links which can connect the adventures together for use in a larger campaign, ideal for when your party deviate from the adventure path, or you need to fill a night when one of your players hasn't shown up, or just drop one in when you need a break from traveling through your sandbox campaign. What is that red glow in the mountainside? A chance for glory or death. So, nice way of introducing it. 6 pages are visible in the preview for the 48. So each one is its own chapter, each of these encounters. You got the intro, and then some DM notes. And this part's cool because it goes through each of the adventures and kind of explains what they are. So we might read a couple of those in a second. But you got chapter 1, the Tower of the Accursed, all the way through part of chapter 1 you get to read. But let's just read a few of these. So the Tower of the Accursed, the tower of a mage who dared delve into forbidden secrets and found himself transformed into a Nothic. So you could use that Nothic eyeball thing that we saw earlier. And then we've got House of the Eight, an enormous awakened spider matron and her brood inhabit a small deserted farmhouse. And then Whitehammer Hall, a museum of curiosities and antiquities, has been subject to a curse from a visiting Fey mage, causing the exhibits to attack the inhabitants. So, and that's just 3. There's 12, right? So we've just read 3 really fun ideas. So back to the Tower of the Accursed. Let's read the flavor text here. It says, a circular 3-story tower of dirty white stone stands before you, with the closed double doors at its base prominently featuring a runic mark. The surface of the tower seems relatively smooth, although there are warding runes above the door. Dim lighting can be seen through the shuttered windows that dot the tower. So nice little feel for that tower. And you've got something called a Ďrsant Nothic. And yeah, I think all of these could be really fun adventures from what I've just read in this little bit. So come over here, read a little more about it, and consider grabbing this to get basically 12 little short adventures that you can pull into your other campaigns. So check it out under Pretty Little Lairs in the links below and give it a click. Next, we've got the Protagonist Class. It says a class for ordinary people in extraordinary adventures. And it's by Oliver Worth. It's $2 for 33 pages. It says, the character has no innate powers like other classes and could represent a normal peasant, a simple noble, or a child, or any commoner. Still, this class can keep up with other classes as the player is able to influence fate to protect the character and aid his companions. The idea and name of the class stems from literature and movies where the normal character is involved in an epic tale. Incredible coincidences propel the hero forward, and sheer luck saves him from mortal danger. While this class follows some common tropes, it is meant not as a parody, but as a serious class. In the same way, this is not a class that is meant to overshadow anyone or to build a Mary Sue. The class is full from 1st to 20th level, is mainly a supporting role in combat, focusing on preventing damage instead of healing and assisting to reduce bad rolls. The document contains 3 archetypes for the class, 15 flukes, which are abilities similar to fighter maneuvers, 14 protagonist boons, a choice of class features, 3 variant rules, and a set of 43 cards for a variant. One of the variant rules introduces an interesting but unusual gameplay element. For this, the available options to influence fate are randomized through cards. So I like this because really, yes, a lot of movies are some normal person, some average person is thrown into some fantastical situation. It's not the best example, but think of Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, you've got Star-Lord, Chris Pratt is just kind of a normal kid that gets plucked out of normal life and thrown into this galaxy of crazy, right? So it's the same thing. You're going to have somebody just ordinary that gets thrown in. Now, you're probably going to have to work the story around that, but still, it could be different. It could be fun. So let's look at these 12 pages out of the 33 that you get to see. So you get the intro to the class, creating one, the quick build, and then all of your features, and then even a bit of the archetypes is here. So you get to even see some of the archetypes. So you get to see the full class, the archetypes, and then a variant fluke gamble here, and then here's some of the cards for flukes, because basically, you know, as in a movie like that, random weird things happen to prevent this protagonist from biting the dust. So maybe think about why you are blessed by fate. Do you have a blessing of a god? Is causality reversed for you and effects create causes? Is it a prophecy you're fulfilling? Are you saturated by wild magic? Are you literally the protagonist of a story? So you could have like that Deadpool fourth wall breaking character if you wanted. Do you have a mighty conscious artifact, or are you just incredibly lucky? And so it goes into each of those, or a lot of those, and gives you options. So let's see what some of the features are. So you seem like a lesser threat. If you focus on not drawing attention, you'll usually succeed. Starting at first level, you can take the disengage action as a bonus action. Die hard whenever you make a death saving throw. You succeed if the roll is 6 or higher. When you begin your turn being stable, you may gain 1 HP. Enemies are unlikely to attack you if you are unconscious or helpless. Expertise at first level, you choose 2 of your skill proficiencies, etc. On second level, this is where the flukes come in. You can spend fluke points to allow you to fulfill your fate. You regain all fluke points during a short rest. A fluke is an unexpected stroke of luck. When you gain this feature, you choose 3 flukes to enhance fate. Flukes are detailed below. So, and then you got witty assist, some fun stuff. Unveil a weak point. Oh, okay. So this is just a selection of pages. Kind of bouncing through here. That's why we can't see all the flukes in here. But looking at some of the fluke cards, let's look at those. Have your back. When an ally attacks an enemy which dealt damage to you since your last short rest, you can add 1d12 to the attack roll and the damage roll of the attacking ally. And then Epiphany, you can add 1d12 to a skill check you made. So yeah, some fun different things going on with flukes. Tying in, I just love that it's connected to this notion in writing of protagonist and maybe having just an ordinary person in the midst of all this crazy. So check it out in the links below under Protagonist Class. Give it a click. Next we got Ravenloft, Villain Codex, Volume 2, Cultists, Killers, and Madmen. And it's from Blue Goblin Games, and it's $4.99 for 23 pages. It says, welcome to the Mists of Ravenloft. This manual is a bestiary for the D&D. Inside you'll find a selection of dastardly humanoid types one may encounter when traversing the dark and shadowy mists of Ravenloft. It's got 5 distinct chapters that showcase a variety of these beings. So you've got cultists as a chapter, boar folk, goat folk, rat folk, and madmen. So each one is a little different. And like Madmen is this entry represents those whose minds have been shattered due to the sheer darkness of the mists of Ravenloft. So very cool. Let's look inside. You get to see 6 of those 23 pages. So again, going through cultists, boar folk, goat folk, etc. So intro talks about each of those sections, and then you get to see a little bit of the cultists. So we'll read about that. It says, devoted to the abhorrent powers of darkness, these fanatical followers are relentless in both deed and action, all in service to their foul gods. The domains of dread are a dreary, dark place to live in, filled with a multitude of people who have all but lost hope. In these realms of sadness and despair, many folks have become desperate for their situation, and thus easily swayed into bizarre beliefs and crazy ideals. Henceforth, the formation and spreading of the dangerous cults and secret societies amongst the populace. Some of these strange cults are relatively harmless or influential, as they have only a handful of followers and are mostly obscure offshoots of larger organized religions. Others, unfortunately, fall into a category of pure evil, such as those who form around the vile doctrines and blasphemous teachings of devils or demon lords. Cult initiates are often pulled from the lowest reaches of society by cult members promising a better life, usually in the form of wealth, power, influence, or abhorrent carnal desires. It is these desperate men and women who form the bulk of a cult's followers, blindly following the will of their cult leader, no matter what the cost, even unto death. And so you've got the Brainwashed Zealot stat block with a CR1, and then the Dark Celebrant with a CR3. So, I mean, just even having more cult stat blocks is helpful outside of Ravenloft. So you've got lots of options you can use when you have tons of cultist stat blocks at your fingertips. And that's all we're getting to see in the full-size preview. But they've got in here boar folk, goat folk, rat folk, and madmen as well. So that's just the beginnings of this bestiary. And, it could be really fun, especially if you're playing in Ravenloft, or you just want some of these different darker creatures to bring into somewhere else. A lot of the plains are dangerous. And even a dungeon could have some of these deadly things that have been brought there by some evil villain. So check it out under Ravenloft Villain Codex in the links below and give it a click. Next we have So You Walk Into a Tavern. It's by Sign of the Dragon, Marco Giulio Fossati and Marco Bertini, and it's already a best copper seller in its first week. 23 pages for $3.95. It says it aids in creating a tavern or an inn from its appearance and staff to what can occur there. So chapter 1 is everything about the appearance of the tavern or inn, including various special features. Chapter 2 is about the owner, staff, and customers, everything you need to create them from scratch. Chapter 3 is events, a list and description of many events that can happen when the characters visit a tavern or an inn. And chapter 4 is rules for tavern brawls and chases. Appendices, 2 taverns ready to be used in your campaign, and tables to randomly generate thousands of different tavern names. So that's helpful. So yeah, all kinds of good stuff in here. Everything from brawl complications to tavern names. So you're really going to be in good shape here. You can see the size that goes into those different sizes. So based on the lifestyle of the area, and then you've got the building generation. So the height might be 1 story, no basement, or all the way up to 4 stories plus a basement if it's a greater tavern. And then you've got your brawl complications like a tossed object, wet floor, blocked path, obstacle, caught, etc. So very fun. Let's look inside. And there's the beautiful cover. And here's a special feature. You get to see 6 of these 23 pages. So special feature at the end. So maybe it has balconies or hunting trophies or a shrine or fortune teller's table. And then each of those may have more detail, because here's the gambling table, fortune teller's table. Yeah, they get like some descriptions to support your selection. And then you've got your brawl complications. And that's the extent of the preview, but still, I think you get to see quite a few of these really awesome tables. So yeah, for the gambling table, it says 1 or more tables in the main room are dedicated to gambling, or perhaps it's a private area of the tavern that is dedicated to gambling. The table can either be managed directly by the owner of the place or by the staff, or perhaps created by people that have met to gamble. So you've got a card game, dice game, ability game with daggers, mechanical games such as roulette, rock, paper, scissors, and various kinds of bets are options for your gambling. And then all kinds of trophy options as well. So I like this. I think, you always need taverns and inns, and they can kind of blend together and seem the same. But with this, you're getting beautiful artwork, getting all kinds of creation opportunities, and we're just scratching the surface with that preview, because there's a bunch more pages to look at, and it's already a best copper seller, so the demand is there for this. So get in on the action by looking for So You Walk Into a Tavern in the links below and give it a click. Next we have Ultimate Necromancer from GMBF Homebrew, and it's a new spellcasting class, $4.99 for 15 pages. It says, become the ultimate commander of minions, a class balanced around the idea of summoning undead with the ability to harvest souls, explode corpses, detect ghosts, and even transform into the Reaper for a short period of time. And it's got 4 unique subclasses: the Cult of the Summoner, the Cult of the Reaper, the Cult of the Resurrector, and the Cult of the Spirit. I like that the subclasses are called cults too. I think that's a good idea. 5 new spells and 11 new magic items as well. So fun layout here. You can see 4 of the 15 pages. And you got your quick build and all of your abilities. And then the first subclass. So you get to read the whole class and then part of the first subclass. So that's nice. So let's see what some of these abilities are. As a necromancer, you are deep in touch with the thin veil that surrounds the living realm, the afterlife. As an action, you can expend your senses to the presence of spirits, undead creatures, or corpses in a 100-feet radius around you. You discover the general location of undead creatures or corpses and their specific number. Spirits are harder to grasp, and you only know if there's one near or far of your current location. You can use this feature once per long rest, but recover it by expending 1 first-level spell or higher. All right, so then cantrips, preparing, casting spells, ritual casting, spell casting focus, and then talks about your cult. And then also at 2nd level, whenever a creature of formidable power reaches 0 hit points in a 60-feet radius around you, you can use your reaction to harvest a fraction of its soul, and you or one creature you can see up to 60 feet away from you receives a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d4 plus the creature's CR or total level. You can use this feature a number of times per day equal to your proficiency modifier. The die increases, at various levels. And then at 18th level, you are taking your final steps toward leaving humanity behind. You stop aging and you gain immunity to necrotic damage. And then also at 18th level, whenever you use your harvest feature, you can forgo receiving temporary hit points and instead recover a 1st or 2nd level spell slot. So some versatility on that harvest. And then, yeah, you get into the cult. So really fun. I think necromancers are things people always are asking about in various video games and even D&D. So I think this is going to give you an option to bring one right into your game. And just the names even of the subclasses, I think, can really be worked into the lore quite a bit because they're cults, right? So you can have that cult be a background faction in your story as well. So I like that. And you should check it out under Ultimate Necromancer in the links below. Well, that's our last DM's Guild title for the week. We're going to move on to DriveThruRPG. But before we do, make sure you're following me on Twitter at Splinterverse, as well as Instagram and Facebook, because we are releasing those exclusive discounts every Monday, as well as free content the rest of the week, whether it's trinkets, little D6 tables, plot hooks, poll questions. We want you to participate and get all of that goodness for free by just following us. That's all it takes. And we don't post a ton of things, so you're not going to get overwhelmed in your feed. Just some good stuff for you. While you're at it, also please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it out there with friends, and leave us a comment. Let us know what titles you might pick up this week or what ones interested you or anything you want to share with us, and we'll respond to you. And click those links in the video description. Make sure you support all these awesome creators and, keep them going, give them comments, leave them reviews, follow them as well. And if you purchase anything from those links, we get a tiny percentage from the affiliate program that helps the channel. And if you're feeling especially kind, consider one of our 5 books from 2021 that we made, including newly in print, the Feywild Companion. It's 150 pages of Feywild fun with tons of maps and adventures and subclasses and spells, all related to the Fey. So you're going to have a good Feywild fun time with that. Potions Unlocked, also in print or digital, over 100 pages of potion goodness, everything from locations, including a magic school, and tons of new potions with full short stories that go into their origin that you can have the potion shopkeeper relate to the players, or you can even put your players in the middle of those as little encounters or adventures. And then we've got Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, all about lineages, optional rules to handle them, and 4 really fun conflict-driven lineages that you can use in any setting. And then we've got Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets with tons of dragon-themed content, everything from subclasses for every single class, horde magic items, draconic gifts, and a familiar. And then we've got Secrets of the Draukar, a brand new race with deities, fortune-telling method, subclasses, adventure hooks, all kind of tied in and themed around the culture of the race that's present in that book as well. So it all kind of fits together to give you that sense of this lost, hidden race that is a combination of the Duergar and the Drow. So I'm excited for you to check those out. And of course, that helps out the channel. So, all right, let's move on to DriveThruRPG. Our first drive-through title this week is Agents and Alehouses by Michael Mars, and is for Pathfinder First Edition. I really like this cover. $5 for 20 pages. It says, within these pages lie 4 unique NPCs and drinking establishments to add flavor to your game and give potential hooks for your adventurers to follow. Argentum is the perfect example of the goblin race, with needle-like teeth and glowing yellow eyes. He's constantly heard muttering in Dwarven as he works the forge and exclaims sayings such as, "By Dwarfarter's forge, and I swear it on my beard." And that's just one of the ones they have listed here. They go through all of the different ones. And to me, when I saw this, I know it's for Pathfinder, but there's a lot of lore potential that you can pull this out and put it into 5e or other systems, even OSR probably. So here we've got eight of those 20 pages, so almost half the book that you can look at. And you've got one called The Dandy here, and Ignacio Perito. They've got their stat blocks and CR ratings, and then the alehouses, including the Black Dragon, which sounds like a fun one. Some maps of the location, the Hag's Head. Yeah, lots of options here. I definitely could see where this could be converted. Yeah, the stats maybe not easily. Maybe have to do some work to get the stats converted, but at least the names of these taverns and inns, as well as the player characters and their backgrounds, because we only need the stats if there's going to be combat, right? So and maybe you don't know if there's going to be combat, but still, you can get the general idea of the characters, etc., and use those in your 5th edition or OSR as well, and Pathfinder. So here we go. The Black Dragon. This ramshackle building seems to be built of driftwood and smells strongly of peat. A single scarred man named Roger works the bar in a sweat-stained shirt that he uses to clean the mugs before pouring drinks. The balding bartender often reminisces about the olden days with his clutch with patrons over tankards of bog brew, his signature drink. So very fun little intro. And then, like I said, they have these nice little maps. And then Hag's Head here. And Molly and Mead. Let's read that. A washboard white building with a barn red roof bearing a simple written sign hanging over the door that reads Molly and Mead. 3 shooty wait tables within, with a green-haired gnome wearing hempen clothing behind the bar. So yeah, you get details of what's happening, some of the staff, names, stat blocks if you're playing Pathfinder. So I like it. I think you can always use more alehouses in your campaign. So check it out under Agents and Alehouses in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have the Angels and Devils Trilogy. Fight alongside the Angels against the Devil Incursion. It's from the Night Owl, and it is 144 pages for $10.99 for the PDF. But then there's also various options to get a hardcover, softcover, or combos. I think it's cool that they offer these. They've got all the variations, and you can pick the different color. So the hardcover with the PDF or softcover with the PDF, or individual books. So that's really cool. It says it's a series of adventures. The dwarven stronghold Cragtop Citadel has fallen prey to a devil incursion. The people of Vermilion Highlands are unaware and unprepared. You must unravel the Citadel's mysteries and escape with your life. Explore the Highlands and light the celestial beacons. Can you claim the legendary sword Devil's Mane from a fallen angel? Before all is over, you must face the general of the infernal armies, the pit fiend Baldemar. The fate of the Highlands rests on you. So you've got these 3 adventures, and then there's player handouts, monster and character images, print and VTT versions of the battle maps, detailed NPCs, new monsters, including new types of angels, new celestial and infernal magic items, legend and lore revealing secrets about the infinite war between the angels and devils, angelic blessings and boons, and it's designed for a party of level 6 to 8, but the DM can adapt to any difficulty level, and it can be played as a sequel to the adventure To Catch a Unicorn, but isn't required. Get ready to travel back to a time of angels and devils, and look at how beautiful the artwork is. Yeah, I definitely want to get a copy of this at some point, especially the hardcover, because I've started collecting those, so I definitely need to get one of those, and I'll add it to my wish list when I'm done recording here. But all right, so it says you've got the intro here to all the adventures, and I mean, look at how beautiful that map is. And you've got the references, digital downloads, and then here's the first adventure, The Secret of Cragtop Citadel. Unravel the mysteries of the lost dwarven stronghold. And then you've got all your chapters. Yeah, really nicely laid out. Well done. You got adventure flowchart, reaching the citadel, a little sort of in-game letter. You could even make this a handout. You're going to see 25 of those 144 pages, which I think showcases quite a lot of stuff. I mean, this is beautiful. Tons of flavor text. Love that isometric map there. Yeah, really getting to see a lot of this first adventure so you can get a feel for it. Let's go back and read some of the flavor text at the beginning of the adventure. So, the road through Rockmark Mountains lies eerily quiet in front of you. You're traveling north, having left the vast forest of Zenamistra days ago. You've heard that this road leads all the way to the dwarven stronghold of Cragtop Citadel. The road is supposed to be the only trade route for making contact with the dwarves. But you haven't met a single traveler for 2 days. Until late this morning, when before setting off again, you hear the soft tread of steps coming up the path. And then that's when you meet this character, and there's a little more of that, so that's fun. And there's a burnt caravan wreckage. Each of these areas is just so detailed. I love that, and I love this little letter that you get with a little wax seal on it from Valdinius Margoman, innkeeper of the Gilded Fox. That's fun. And the artwork's beautiful, layout's nice, and these maps are just really stellar. So they've worked with some talented artists, it looks like, to bring this to you. And what I'll say too is that getting a trilogy of adventures is hard. I mean, there just aren't that many, especially in 5th edition. I mean, official ones or otherwise, it's just finding a trilogy is just not easy. So I think the fact that you can get a whole trilogy of adventures for one price, I mean, $11 for 144 pages, that's a really good price just for the PDF. And you're getting a trilogy of adventures, so you could really have a unique experience. I mean, how many tables are going to play this? It's not going to be as many as maybe, you know, Curse of Strahd, right? So you could really offer your players something that they're not expecting, something that they're not going to find at another table. You're going to get to have some angels and devils involved, which, you know, you don't see a lot of celestials or fiends. You know, maybe an Avernus or something, but you getting to deal with some creature types they're not used to, and you can get these combos, soft cover, hardcover, and beautiful artwork. So yeah, definitely cool, and I'm gonna add it to my wish list later today. So check it out under Angels and Devils Trilogy in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we've got the Animarium Codex, and it is a collection of spirit-themed magic items from beyond the screen. $8 for 15 pages. It says magical artifacts are a staple of fantasy worlds. They can empower heroes to perform the impossible or turn the tide against them in the hands of their enemies. An arcane tome could teach dark rituals or words of primordial power, driving a character towards an unexpected path. A divine sword can be the cause of an apocalyptic event or inspire the birth of a new nation. This supplement is dedicated to magic items and their creation. The first chapter explores the manufacturing process of animariums magic items powered by spirits. It features a society on the verge of an industrial revolution based on these arcane devices. The second chapter lists 24 new magic items that fit any 5th edition setting, from the common everyday objects that embellish fictional storytelling to legendary artifacts that can shape the course of history. This codex has a little something for every adventure. And that's cool. It says, lastly, the supplement contains a new playable race, the Reclaimed, part mortal and part spirit. Reclaimed are torn between two worlds, driven to emotional extremes by their spirit. Reclaimed are considered eccentric at best and insane at worst. Many of them find it difficult to blend in society, so they choose to travel alone or band with other misfits as adventurers. So yeah, you're getting so much stuff. I mean, items and a race, and I like that it's going to talk about the manufacture of items. I mean, that's an area that's not touched much. And look at how gorgeous all the artwork is. I mean, these pieces are just stunning. Really, really beautiful. They've pulled together some nice looking stuff here. You get to see 9 of those 15 pages. And yeah, you've got your preface. So here's the spirit cage, crafting animariums. We'll maybe read a little bit about that. The Crucible of Sparks. And then you've got arcane curiosities. So all the different items, and then some animariums. Fun. This is really cool. So let me zoom in so we can read a little bit here. So every animarium is made of 2 vital components, a vessel and a spirit that powers it. When the 2 are readily available, a spellcaster can enact a ritual that traps the spirit within the vessel. Crafting the vessel is a process that varies in complexity. When the nature of the desired animarium and the sealed spirit are complementary, the design can be simple. A spirit of wrath naturally emanates warmth, so using it to produce an animarium that gives off heat is fairly straightforward. Such vessels can be made even by beginner artificers. Crafting a vessel comes with a cost that covers materials, tools, and other necessary resources. And then there's a whole little time and cost table. A vessel invariably requires a spirit to power it, and while the world of Eleanor is full of those, few would willingly agree to be imprisoned. Finding a compatible spirit and convincing or forcing it to become the source of an animarium would be a compelling quest to include in an adventure. And then it shows you like the CR range and capturing them and what you get. And this is kind of a cool illustration of that. And I love that the lore from the campaigns of Beyond Screen is in here as well. So let's read one of these. Let's read one of the animariums, because we could read a lot of these items, but I want to make sure we cover one of the animariums. So we've got Apathy Bomb. It's a wonder item rare. The small animarium sphere encases a spirit of wrath and Analium shrapnel. As an action, a character can throw the spear up to 60 feet away. The animarium shatters on impact, releasing the spirit to the ethereal plane in a violent explosion. Each creature within 20 feet of the exploding Apathy Bomb must make a dex saving throw, taking piercing damage on a failed save and half as much on a successful one. If the saving throw fails by 5 or more, the creature cannot cast spells until the end of their next turn. If a creature in the explosion's radius is concentrating and takes damage from the Apathy Bomb, the saving throw to maintain their concentration is made at disadvantage. A materialized spirit that fails the save is pushed back to the ethereal plane and may not return to the material plane for 1 hour. So I'm assuming this item, once you've done that, it's gone because you've shattered it, but it doesn't necessarily say that here, but I'm going to assume that. So then here's another one, Brave Light, wondrous item uncommon. This fist-sized marble holds a spirit of valor. As an action, a character can throw the marble up to 60 feet away. The animarium flares brightly and shatters on impact, affecting each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere around it. Each creature in the area gains temporary hit points and is immune to being frightened for 1 minute. When the minute ends, they lose any remaining temporary hit points from this effect. So, cool. And that's just a couple of the fun little animariums that they have here. They have quite a few. I mean, this Flame Spitter one looks really fun too, with different options based on charges. It's uncommon or rare depending on attunement and other things. So really cool. I like the concept and everything in this. I definitely want to get a copy of it. It is fun, and it is under Animarium Codex in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Ascent of the Leviathan. It says the ship has been breached by a monstrous jellyfish. Will you be able to delve within and find a solution on how to free your ship? A sea adventure for characters of level 2 to 4. And it's from the Merciless Merchants. And it's $10 for 52 pages for the digital. And you can also get a black and white softcover for $20 or a combo of both for $22. And it says the ship has been, we read that already, so we won't read that again. And it looks like there's a little bit of a video related to the Kickstarter for this that you can watch as well. But here we are looking at the interior. We've got 19 pages out of the 52 visible, so almost half. And you got your adventure summary, introduction, notes, pirate standoff, all sorts of stat blocks, optional adventure hooks. Ooh, look at that. That's cool. And then you got the jellyfish, dealing with that. Yeah, lots of fun black and white artwork to go with this. Yeah, and this is 5th edition, even though it's got that kind of OSR look. I should be specific here. So let's see if we can read some of these hooks for you, because those look like they could be fun. Optional adventure hooks. All right. A mysterious ship floats strangely out in sea. It's tilted to its side as if breached, but it floats. The local fishermen believe it's a sign of bad luck and avoid it. Adventurous souls have journeyed to find the ship and loot it, but none have returned. Old Edwin claims the boat is a merchant ship from the far-off Rhone Empire and believes it must be loaded with valuable silks and ingots. The ship was last seen to the east near a trio of small islands. Can't miss it. Another hook is the party has taken passage on a ship. After several days of travel, they pass a ship beached on a strange gelatinous mass. A jellyfish? The trapped ship's crew hollers and waves down the ship, and your captain decides to be a good soul and stop to see how you all can help. So yeah, lots of ways to get you involved to end up dealing with this jellyfish and all sorts of other creatures, and tons of stat blocks ready for you, like a giant amoebocyte and Marahitihiti stalker and other stuff in here. Zontani pelican eels. Yeah, so lots of nautical fun. Love that it's print on demand as well as digital. So another one to eventually get for my bookshelf. And you should check it out in the links in the video description under Ascent of the Leviathan. Give it a click. Next we have Castle Old School. Character tables, essential reference information for game masters. And it's by Kent David Kelly. And this is a supplement to the 1978 Players tome originally authored by E. Gary Gygax. So 1st edition D&D. And what they're really doing with this is going in and cleaning it up. Decades worth of comprehensive improvements, expansions, errata, clarifications, rulings, and interpretive aids. So with this book and the one we showed last week, you're going to have a lot of cleanup done for you so that things are just a little bit easier. You're still following the same rules, but they're a little bit more organized. You don't have to remember some of the changes. So yeah, this is for OSR 1st edition stuff, but I mean, look at all the different tables that are covered. Everything from overview of character abilities, ability score generation methods, and you see minimum required ability scores for class qualification, effects of armor on maximum movement rate, encumbrance and character. I mean, just all these tables from the old Player's Handbook, completely cleaned up and made easier for you. And you can see here in this full-size preview, 22 pages out of the 94. So you get to see quite a few of the improvements, and it talks about what they've done. Like on the first overall one, corrected several hundred errors, rules, conflicts, edge cases, exceptions, incomplete rulings, false implications, data gaps, and difficulties in procedural sequencing that were never fully addressed. So that's a lot in itself. And then just under ability score generation methods, they've clarified quality of ability scores generated by each method, listed average statistical scores that are generated using the Gygaxian ability score rolling methods, And for method 5, listed minimum and maximum human ability scores in the same table for ease of reference. And that's just one. It goes through a bunch of them here that have been cleaned up, made so much easier for you to deal with. You can see they're nicely laid out. They got the same style as the old tables in terms of fonts and stuff, so you can still get that feel. And just have it just more easy to interact with, instead of, oh yeah, I got to remember that this really means that, and all this kind of stuff that over time just adds up and makes it less fun, because it's a little bit of work to remember all these things. And oh shoot, I forgot I was supposed to add this, or you can't use that. And especially if you're trying to get new players in, because this is the player tome stuff, right? You're trying to get new players in, and you tell them, oh, but you got to remember that, or you got to no. That's not how you get new people to play, unless they're like already super crunch friendly. You need to give them the cleaned up version, which is what this is. So I think you should check it out under Castle Old School character tables in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we have The Dead Mines, a 5th level adventure for both 5th edition and 3.5. So it works with Pathfinder or D&D 3.5 from Dragonshorn Tales. And I don't know if it's Dragonshorn or Dragonshorn Tales, so I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm going to guess it's Dragonshorn Studios and Dragonshorn Tales, but please let me know in the comments which way so I can say it properly. $5.95 for 28 pages. And it says, the evil waits in the darkness. The smoke rises from the abandoned mine. Again, a group of orcs started digging, trying to get inside the ruins, driven by the power that is beyond their understanding. A young scholar is looking for a long-lost truth, and deep down, ancient evil is lurking, waiting for a fool to release it once more. It's a 2-session adventure, and it features a closed story that is designed so you can drop it into any campaign or play it standalone. New monsters and items. It's sure to put your players on their toes. Will they be brave enough to prevent the return of a demon lord? And it's got 5 new maps, 6 new monsters, and 2 new magic items. And then there's also a bundle where you can get the Foundry version, which I really love. I like Foundry as a VTT. The campaign I'm a player in right now uses that, and I just love how many options it presents to you technically. And so you can get both the Foundry and the digital PDF together in this bundle. So consider that as well if you come here or if you use Foundry. But I always love that they have both 5th edition and 3.5. I think that's just awesome. I wish more publishers would do that. It's just doubling that value. No matter which direction you want to go, you've got everything laid out in the same text, right? So you don't have to like flip back and forth or convert. So here you got your table of contents, your intro, the adventure background, some hooks. We'll read some of those, and then into the mine. You get flavor text with those. And then you can see here how they're doing the different versions. So you've got the DC 5th edition entry is with this little symbol, and the 3.5 edition is with this little D20 that's red. So if it's kind of this gray, purpley color, it's 5th edition. If it's red, it's 3.5. So just inline in the middle of the text, you'll get that DC in both ways. You don't have to convert, look for it elsewhere. Love that. All right, so hooks, orc sightings. When resting in one of the taverns and villages near Blackrock, adventurers hear about orc sighting in the ruins of an abandoned mine. And then missing scholar, adventurers are approached by a priest who asks them to locate Welter, a scholar who rushed from the temple with only, I need to check that, and was not heard from since. The priest show characters his latest research, which leads them to the abandoned mine near Blackrock Village. And then let's just read a little bit of flavor text here from the, it says, an abandoned shaft in the mine. This old building seems ruined. The windows are shattered, revealing broken wooden construction inside. A large water wheel is located on the side of the building, but it is destroyed beyond repair. So, helpful flavor text intermixed here with some nice artwork, and you're getting again both of those versions of the game. So if you're a player who uses both, or you wanted to dip your toe in the water of one or the other, or maybe you hope someday to try to do the other one, I mean, this could be a really good option to start building up opportunities to play both. And maybe you play it 5th edition and then you play it again under 3.5 or Pathfinder or something, and that way you're already familiar with having run it as a DM with 5th edition, and then when you move to the other one you kind of already got some familiarity with the story, so then all you're doing is really learning about the mechanics, which is a perfect way to transition to a different edition, or vice versa. If you're already on Pathfinder 3.5, you play it through normally and then get a new group together to play 5th edition version and kind of learn the rules, but you're not so worried about the story because you know which way it's going to go and how to voice the characters, etc. So love it. Look for it in the links in the video description under Dead Minds and give it a click. Next we got Dragons and Owls and Bears. Oh my. It's a Night Owl Odysseys adventure. So it's from Night Owl Odysseys, $4 for 15 pages. And that title is a parody on Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my, from The Wizard of Oz, which I love. It says a local recluse has put out the most curious of jobs on the message board. Monster hunters wanted to either kill or capture an escaped specimen out near the previously abandoned Wizard's Tower. What will your party discover in the tower, and what will the fate be of this escaped specimen? And so it's got beautifully painted maps. You can see the 3 different levels. You've got the little tokens of the owl bears and other creatures, and then you've got all these little cards of the different items. So you've got the dragon bone scalpel, the mistake eraser, and the potion of owlbearification, which sounds fun. It says designed 4 to 6 characters of 6th to 10th level and optimized for 4 characters with an average party level of 9. You get 2 new creatures, 4 custom battle maps, and 3 new magic items, as well as 2 musical tracks. So that's awesome. And there's a whole video down here, so you want to watch that and subscribe to their channel while you're at it. But very cool. Love the feel of this. There's no preview, so we can't read any of the interior, but that's okay because we can see just from these pictures how cool everything is. And carefully made. So I think you should check it out under Dragons and Owls and Bears, oh my, in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Fey Encounters from Scoundrel Game Labs and T.A. Gray. It's on sale for $16.95 for the PDF. But you can also get a hardcover for $19.95 or a combo for the same price, which is really cool. I definitely want to get the combo at some point. And it is a best copper seller. It says it's a collection of 60 random encounters set in the Fey realm. They're designed to capture a whimsical yet dangerous atmosphere the Fey are known for. So this is going to be a great companion for anything else Feywild. So if you're playing Wild Beyond the Witchlight, if you bought my book, Feywild Companion, any of those adventures or encounters in there this works with, or if you're creating your own Feywild adventures, then this could fit in beautifully. And I think T.A. Gray is really skilled at encounters. We did a whole review on T.A.'s Theros encounters, which was really fun, a fun read, and I thought the encounters were really well written and creative. So I can only imagine how good this one is as well. So you can see inside, you can see 9 of those 78 pages, and there's all these different encounters listed, and then a whole bunch of new monsters that you can reuse elsewhere outside of these encounters, of course. And then you got your magic items in here too. So introduction. This first one's called Anger Issues, and it's got a Fomorian Ragecaster, and then you've got the Brambo Imbroglio. Big Feet with a Sasquatch involved, and Busted Boat. Catch Me If You Can. Yeah, just all kinds of fun stuff going on in these ones that we can see. So let's read about the Brambo Imbroglio. It says, while the party is wandering through a forest or an area with tall, dense foliage, any character who has a passive perception of 15 or higher realizes that they've been going in circles. As they walk, the area around them has changed, opening some paths and closing others in an attempt to trap them in a labyrinthine circle. A ranger with forest as favored terrain or a character with a similar background that prevents them from getting lost easily notices this after about a half hour of wandering. A successful Arcana or Nature check reveals that the forest is enchanted and sentient. The forest tries to lure the characters in circles, hoping to trap them forever. The characters can escape using various methods. They can succeed on a series of acrobatics, investigation, nature, athletics, perception, survival checks to climb, navigate, jump, and deduce their way out. They must succeed on 5 of these checks before failing on 5. They cannot use the same skill more than once in a row, and the same character cannot roll back to back. They can use a series of fire-based spells to burn a path straight through the brambles. A dimension door spell or other form of teleportation can teleport them directly out of the brambles without any consequences, or a unique use of scrying or divination techniques can guide them without having to make ability checks. So I like that there's so many variations of ways to get out of this. These kind of encounters can be challenging because it can just be a single check and you're done, right? So I like that you have to hit 5 of them, or you have to use one of these other techniques. And then this is nice that TA has also included how to scale it by raising those DCs. So fun stuff, all kinds of cool creatures and items in here as well to really amp up your Feywild. And like I said, it plays well with those other Feywild books out there. So super cool. I love the cover art and the art that I've seen so far in this book, and it's beautiful that it's got a print on demand option too. So I think you should check it out under Fey Encounters in the links below. Give it a click. Next we've got Kev's Lounge Paper Minis, The Stuff of Nightmares. And I love this sort of comic book cover. It's only $1.50. And it's a collection of frightening foes to terrorize your adventures. You'll get a Nothic. So Nothics have shown up 3 times in this week's video. I love that. I mean, it's so cool when there's a sort of hidden synergy between these titles. I mean, because all the people we're talking about this week, these creators, have not banded together and decided to release something that has a Nothic in it. It just happened. And what's even more cool is that all 3 of the Nothics that have shown up today can work together. So we saw the Nothic Eyeball, which is a magic item. We saw the Nothic Encounter, where they're, this wizard and dealing with the Nothics. And then now we've got a Nothic token. So all 3 of these could be worked together and to create that adventure. So love that. And it happens all the time in these videos if you watch them. That's why it's good to watch the whole episode, because you just never know what kind of theme is going to emerge. I know it's long, so you might have to watch it in parts or on 2 times speed or 1.5 speed or whatever. But it's worth getting through these. But look at this. These are really cute looking little tokens, and you get a green hag, a Nothic, a pit lord, a wraith, a ghoul, and a gibbering mouther, plus a battle map with 13 different grid options to choose from. Easy to print, and they've got removable bases. They're scaled to 28 millimeter and will look good alongside popular brands of miniatures. So, but yeah, look at that. They're really cool looking little characters. The gibbering mouther is so fun, and there's the Nothic. So I think for $1.50, this is a quick, easy pickup, and supplement your mini collection. And I think you should look for it in the links below under Kev's Lounge and give it a click. Next we have Level Up Adventures in Zeitgeist by Ryan Nock and Ian Publishing, $19.99 for a 285-page PDF. And so Level Up is that really cool new thing that they're doing through Ian Publishing, where they've taken all of 5th edition and kind of reworked it, tweaked it, improved some things, fixed some things, moved things around, all kinds of good stuff. And so there's you can get the whole like Game Master's Guide and Player's Guide and all that stuff on DriveThru as well. I grabbed it, and it's got some good stuff in it. And I think that it's cool that they're continuing to release stuff under Level Up, so that if you are playing under that, you have some stuff to use. And I'm assuming it wouldn't take much to convert these kinds of things to regular 5th edition if you don't want to use the Level Up system. I mean, they are pretty close to each other. But this 285-page guide to the adventures in Zeitgeist setting offers a world of steam, sorcery, and intrigue, bringing fantasy gaming to a new era of innovative magic and technology. Whether a conspirator, constable, a revolutionary, or a vagabond, your adventures will steer the course of a new age. You get character options for players to explore in the new setting, plus advice and adventure hooks for game masters to help them bring them to life. So you've got informations on the various areas of geography, and then you've got a new diva, gnoll, goblin, kobold, lizard folk, and minotaur heritages, 16 new subclasses like the gadgeteer, fighter, the urbanist, warlock. You've got a new archaeologist, faction agent, investigator, and riven mine backgrounds, 6 cultures to help ground your character in the world of Zeitgeist, a dozen feats, 30 new magic items, tools for proper modern heroes, like an astounding array of firearms, etc. And then monsters ranging from the Dreamborn Charisma Fey of L5R and the Motivore Malice Beast to the Pride of Pemberton Industries, this BEAR, the Battle-Enhanced Animalistic Replicant. So let's look inside. So fun artwork throughout, mostly just getting to see the table of contents here, but I still think it's good to get to, so I can't read anything for you, but you get to see kind of the structure. So they've got the homelands, all the information on it, the heritage culture, the backgrounds, including adventure seeds, and then character themes, new classes, subclasses, etc., religion. Yeah, I definitely want to get a copy of this. Now, what's cool is these adventure seeds, right? You don't often get that when there's player options. You can come up with things based on the lore that goes with the player options, but I love when publishers add in some little hooks for you as well. So that's definitely a plus for this. And you can see all kinds of good stuff in here. It looks like it's linked, which is helpful. So yeah, I'm going to add this to my wish list as well. And you should check it out under Level Up, Adventures in Zeitgeist, in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have A Mother of Monsters, The Awakening of 𝘏𝙗𝙗 and GM's Guide. And it's got 𝘏𝙗𝙗 Islands and Legendary Games involved, $6.99. And I think it's for 5th edition, but it's missing the 5th edition mark, so you might want to add that checkbox so it'll say 5th edition compatible. Says this 40-page Mother of Monsters GM's Guide brings you a wealth of insider information on the epic adventure opportunities to be found in the 𝘏𝙗𝙗 Isles. You'll find lore about the hidden history of these lands and seas from the Age of Titans to the Age of Despair and the current children of Mygara. You'll likewise find an expansive gazetteer of the people and places of the archipelago with beautiful maps, fiendish factions and organizations, and so much more. Plus, you'll find new D&D 5th edition bonus material in this book, like new magic items, ready-to-use NPC stat blocks, sinister new monsters. So, you know, this 𝘏𝙗𝙗𝙗 Islands is very, like, Greek-inspired, Roman-inspired, you know, that you know, like, kind of like Theros. So it gives you lots of cool stuff if you want to use it for your Theros campaign, or you want to build in the 𝘏𝙗𝙗𝙗 Islands. And they also released this week the Player's Guide and an adventure. You can see those two down here, but you know, I always only pick one title to cover specifically from a publisher per week. So I picked the GM one because it has a preview, and it's really cool. I think this artwork is nice. So let's look inside. They've got that Grecian look to it. Yeah, look at this fun artwork already. You get to see 7 of those 40 pages. So it talks about the book, considerations, arcane magic, and then Kagari through the ages. So we'll read just a little bit about the Age of Titans down here. The time before the War of the Gods was a time when the Nidor ruled over the Nullidan as their gods. The Kagari Islands was the realm of the Nahardamia. Her children were the Naga folk. At that time, the region of Kagari was one land mass rather than an archipelago. The Naga folk called their land 𝘽𝙤𝙘𝙤, which means land of the chosen. The final battles of war against the Nidor were fought in the region of Kagari. It was here that Porgakar led the dwarves, elves, and giants against Nahardamia and her minions. So, fun history, all kinds of stuff that, like I said, you can pluck out and put in Theros or your own Greek-inspired campaign, or you can run this Kagari Isle stuff. So, very fun. Love it. Look for it under Mother of Monsters in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Mystery at Lantern Lane, a one-on-one murder mystery adventure for 5th edition from Owl Point Press and ND Pinot. It's $4.95 for 25 pages. And it says, get your player wrapped up in a small town intrigue. It takes place in a small area near a large city or town. It's designed to be run by one DM and one player. So that is duet play, as we call it. 3rd to 5th level character, and can be finished in about 2 to 4 hours. So this is perfect if you have just one friend, or maybe your significant other, and you want, or relative or whatever, and you just want to do a quick little one shot together, get them interested. It gives you tips on duet play, 7 detailed NPCs, a printable version that's screen reader friendly, stat blocks for every creature, and a full color map. And you can see very cleanly laid out, which is nice. So you get to see basically the whole book in the preview, which is very kind of Owl Point Press. And yeah, you can see you've got the NPCs. I like how they're each on their own page, so you can, if you want to print those, you can have them just handy and focus just on that character. This is a beautiful map of Lantern Lane. And then here's all the little behind the scenes info. And you've got your stat blocks at the end, which is super helpful. And even a wanted poster, handouts, etc. Love it. All right, let's zoom in. Again, loving these maps. I think they're really well done. So let's go back up here and find something we can read for you. So it says the adventure begins when the characters first arrive at the lane. The area is, or the character first arrives, the area is made up of one large road with a few houses built alongside it that leads to a large mansion. At the front of the lane, right in the middle of the road, stands an old church, and it's here where the story begins. The sound of a large bell rings loudly from the church in the center of the lane. Several of the locals funnel out from the building and return to their homes, but 4 remain near the front door, happily engrossed in conversation. And then it goes into more detail about that, but I don't want to spoil it. And then here's another flavor text section. A huge mansion stands waiting at the end of the lane. Its walls and windows show signs of care taken to maintain them over the years. Neat rows of perfectly trimmed hedges line the path leading toward the door. And the door itself stands tall, adorned with a bright silver knocker. There's nothing out of place here except for a balled up piece of paper caught in one of the hedges. So really cool. And here's the balled up piece of paper and what it says. But yeah, I think this is a little fun little duet adventure. There aren't a lot of duets adventures out there. And this one could be a great way to just try it out, see how it works out. And it's been tuned for this, right? Some people try to like convert an adventure to be good for just one. It maybe can get a little messy. So why not pick one that's already ready to go? It looks very cleanly written, very nicely laid out with fun maps, and it's only $4.95. So check it out under Mystery at Lantern Lane in the links below and give it a click. Next we have SideQuests Volume 5, which has all kinds of easy adventure modules for 5th edition. It's a collection of short adventures, and these one-shot style campaigns are designed to be compelling standalone stories that can be implemented, played through, and completed in just a few sessions, whether you're using them as a filler adventure or as a continuation of your own adventures, or just because you forgot to plan something. Side quests are an invaluable tool. And so this is $21.99 for 100 pages. Includes 5 different adventures, including The Train Between the Plains, Wreckage of the Crimson Cove, Werewolf's Trial, The Forgotten Library, and Temple of the Seven Sands. And then there's some high-res battle maps included as well. So you get to see 3 of those 100 pages in the preview. So this is Werewolf's Trial we're looking at, and it gives you detail on what all the coloring is, and you've got the contents. So not much we can read for you, but you can see that they're using the different blue boxes are GM tips, red box running information on running enemies, green box offers suggestions to scale the difficulty, and the white box is character specific, and brown is just read aloud stuff. So that's cool. I like that varied coloration system. So super cool, and 5 different adventures for $21. Pretty good deal. Check it out under SideQuests V in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Warlock Joe's Dungeon for Babies by Watcher DM, and it's a suggested price of $2 on Pay What You Want for 3 pages. It's 5th edition compatible. Its author is Jesse Brown. It says Warlock Joe, aka Josiah Darksoul, not his real name, is an epic level magic user who has transcended such paltry things as life and death and space and time. Now, he amuses himself by building dungeons and luring adventurers and monsters into it for fun. Joe is concerned about the youth. He's worried in these changing times that the next generation of adventurers will come of age without ever having set foot in a dungeon, much less one containing a dragon. He aims to ensure that grim future never comes to pass by creating an introductory dungeon for 4 level 1 PCs. So I love the playfulness of this, and the angle taken with the character, and it's one of those pamphlet style books, so even though it says it's 3 pages, it's going to be a little bit more because each panel could be considered a page. And I really love this because it's got this playful artwork, and then you've got your intro, and then each act, and a whole section called Trap Corridor and Dragon's Lair, and then exit with the reward. It says Map for Babies, and it's just cute and adorable. I love the concept. And let's read a little bit here about the entrance. It says a forest clearing with an ancient tree. At its base, a dank cave entrance with a sign reading Warlock Joe's Dungeon for Babies. When the PCs approach, a simulacrum of Warlock Joe welcomes the PCs to the wonderful world of fantasy adventure. Joe explains the goal is to traverse the dungeon and vanquish the treasure-hoarding dragon. As they go in, Joe will give Dungeoneer's pack to any NPC or any PC who doesn't already have one. One of the packs contains a map of the dungeon. It's 4 squares connected by a straight line reading Battle, Negotiation, Trap, Boss, and Treasure. This is very meta and has a sense of humor. Once they're inside, Warlock Joe rolls a boulder in front of the entrance, sealing them in. So just fun. I could see this as a Adult Swim cartoon. It's super cute, and I like the artwork. So fun times. I think you should check it out. It's under Warlock Joe's Dungeon for Babies in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Warlord, a martial class to inspire and lead your party for 5th edition from Crit Academy, $2.95 for 8 pages. We've talked about Crit Academy before. They provide a lot of helpful content on YouTube and elsewhere for you, so you should subscribe to their YouTube channel while you're thinking about it here. This is a new class from them, and it looks like they need to click the 5th edition checkbox because it's not showing up over here. I want to make sure people know this is for 5th edition. I know you have it on the cover, but just in case if you're watching Crit Academy. It says warlords are talented and knowledgeable battle leaders. While many commanders stand in the rear during battle, they stand on the front line, shouting commands and bolstering their allies while leading the fight with weapons in hand. Warlords know how to unite their squad to acquire victory. As a frontline commander, you lead others to triumph, a direct effect of your record. The most common background of a warlord is that of a war chief looking to earn renown for themselves and their clan. You are not locked into this, of course. Your warlord could be a devout knight officer on leave or retired from your militia assembly, a youthful noble enthusiastic to apply years of preparation to life outside the protective walls of your home, a scheming mercenary boss, or a brave marshal of the outlands who bouts to protect or ravage the frontier. Regardless of your background, you are a skillful warrior and have a gift for masterful leadership. So very fun intro to the class. And here you can see 8 of the pages, which is all of the pages, so that's cool. Very kind. You get to see the whole class here, as well as everything that goes along with it, including War Council, Tactical Council, and Shouts. So lots going on. Let me zoom in so we can read a little bit more. So they have a coat of arms, which there's a whole table you can pick from, and then you have heroic inspiration. This gives you some details on like your background, what inspired you to become a warlord, basically. And then you have a signature tactic, whether it's ambush, berserker, counterattack, diplomacy, etc. At first level, when you take an attack action on your turn, you can forgo one of your attacks and use a bonus action to direct one of your companions to strike. When you do so, choose a friendly creature who can see or hear you. That creature can immediately use its reaction to make one weapon attack. Your charisma modifier is added to the attack's damage roll. So you can see how you're kind of commanding forces here with your warlord class. Pretty fun. Then you get a fighting style that you get to pick. From defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, interception, and protection. And then commanding shout. Warlords are masters of leading others into battle, learned from countless hours developing tactics and inspiring speeches. Combined with your raw charisma, you can push allies to new heights of tactical skill. Through the use of shouts, you can maneuver an ally into a tactical position, rally an ally from fatigue, or even frighten foes into retreating. So beginning at second level, you're able to learn the commanding shouts that are fueled by your own stamina using your hit dice. Some shouts allow for a variety of effects, such as gaining temporary hit points, allowing additional effects, and when attacking or granting a myriad of other benefits. Each shout details the benefits associated with expending the hit dice. And then you've got all your information on shouts, and later they list those, and then you choose a War Council, which is your subclass, and it goes into what those different two different subclasses here to choose from. And then you've got your shouts down here, such as piercing. As a bonus action, you can spend one hit die and release a deafening, disorienting howl. Choose up to 10 creatures of your choice that can hear you. Each creature must succeed on a con saving throw. A failed save results in the creature being deafened, and its movement is reduced by a number of feet equal to 3 times the number rolled for 1 minute. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. So very cool. I like this. I think it's naturally fits. I mean, a warlord would be doing all of these things like shouting and I love all the flavor here in the beginning, coming up with your coat of arms and your inspiration. So lots of stuff has gone into this, and I think it's going to be a really interesting option for your table. And like I said, I like Crit Academy. I think you need to follow them and see what they're up to. So check it out under Warlord, Martial Class, and links below. Give it a click. And lastly, we're going to talk about our discount for next week. So next week, on Monday at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. MST is when we release our discounts, as well as our content throughout the week. So you can set a reminder. We're going to offer the first 50 people that click the link will get the option to purchase this adventure, The Witch's Wood, at a discount. So again, you want to be following us everywhere because we release this on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and take advantage of these links. Take a quick break from work or whatever, get on there and grab the title. In this case, only 50 people are going to get it. So you want to make sure you're one of those. And it is a fun adventure from Jordan Carmichael and Kathleen Harrington. Normally $4.95, but it's not going to be that price for those 50. And it's 29 pages. It's a small logging village is coming under attack by an animal and plants, and none can enter the woods safely, except for a little girl who can come and go as she pleases and seems to have picked up some odd nursery rhymes. So something is amiss here, and I love this little flavor of the little girl that can just come and go as she pleases when everybody else gets wrecked. And she's got these odd nursery rhymes, and it's 4 hours long, designed for a party level of 4 to 8. Party of 4 at level 8. It's got fey creatures, riddles, games, and all kinds of good stuff. So, this can tie in with all the Feywild stuff out there, or, just be its own thing. And I love it. I think it's really cool. And I mean, it's already got a 5-star rating from 4 people. So this is no joke. It's a serious, fun adventure. And it says the woods are her domain and she will protect them. So you want to find out what is happening with all of that, and at a discounted price that you can't get anywhere else. So be sure to follow at Splinterverse everywhere. All right. Well, thanks for watching. That's our last title for the week. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment, tell us what books you liked, what you're going to pick up, or questions you have, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. And consider clicking all those links in the video description and supporting all of these wonderful creators we've showcased. Tell your friends about the series, help get the word out. We need to keep encouraging these creators so that we get all this cool content every week to supplement our games. And if you're feeling super nice today, consider purchasing one of our 5 books that we released in 2021. I'm working on 2 more for this year. One is a Kickstarter and one is not, and I can't wait to start talking about those soon. And we have our print-on-demand titles, Feywild Companion and Potions Unlocked. So if you want a print copy of one of the Splinterverse Media books, those are your options. Lots of great stuff in both those. Click those links so you can see all the cool artwork and things inside of those. And then on the digital front, we have Van Richten's Libram of Lineages, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, and Secrets of the Draugr. All fun titles with races, subclasses, lineages, you name it. They're in there, and really good prices on those as well. So something for everyone, a good price point for everyone, and just content created with love, sweat, and tears, all for you. So again, I can't wait to talk about the new content that's coming. But in the meantime, you want to grab all these other ones, and I can tell you that some of the future content will reference some of the older stuff. So it's kind of building some shared settings and things going on. So investing in these early ones, especially Potions Unlocked, is going to reward you later, because you'll get to already have some familiarity with some of the players. So stay tuned for more. And to all the creators out there, keep going. I want to see what you're doing. Other people want to see what you're doing. Don't be distracted. Don't procrastinate. Get those books done. You got this. And until next time, happy adventuring.